Yo, what's up guys? Old School Dan here, and in this video, I will talk about the three different body types, the ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. I'm going to give you some examples to look at of classic bodybuilders who have those body types. And I'm going to tell you how to train for each. Now let us begin. Alright, so we have three body types right here. We have the ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. And it's important to know your body type because if you know it, you're going to be able to gain so much easier. If you don't know it, you're walking around blindlessly without a map. Now you see, I was using a mesomorph training routine for the past 2 years, and I was training 5 to 6 days a week, and that shit hella burns calories, man. Going to the gym every day, my metabolism is going fast as shit already. I'm an ectomorph. We have fast metabolisms. It's a gift and it's a curse. So I was doing that, and I was like gaining, it was really slow gaining. It was at least like maybe 10 pounds a year. I don't know, not even muscle. And then once I switched to the 3 day split, I gained 25 pounds in like 3 months or something like that. It was pretty crazy. But that is why you should know your body type, because you see, an endomorph is more like they gain weight easily and they put on muscle easily as well too. But sometimes they have a hard time like losing weight. But that is why I wouldn't say an endomorph do a 3 day split. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, they're going to the gym less. I mean, they kind of need more exercise so they can lose weight, so they can keep off that weight. So I wouldn't recommend that. But it's like if an ectomorph, it's like you guys already your metabolism is already firing up like crazy. You need to go to the gym less so you don't burn so many calories. But anyways, let us move on to some examples of the body types. We're gonna start off with the ectomorph. I'm gonna give you some usual characteristics that come along with each body type, and then after that, we're gonna talk about some training techniques to train with each body type. Here are some characteristics that come with the body type, and this is something I'm reading from Arnold's book right now. So straight from the source. The ectomorph, characterized by a short upper body, long arms and legs, long and narrow feet and hands, and very little fat storage. Narrowness in the chest and shoulders with generally long, thin muscles. Frank Zane is a classic ectomorph. You can tell. I mean, look how I think he was like 18 in that picture. You can tell he's got the long arms, and long legs, short torso. All right, so the ectomorph has a hard time gaining weight. I mean, you can almost describe it as, oh, I can eat anything and not gain weight. That's like the biggest curse and the biggest blessing. So if you're skinny and have a hard time gaining weight and muscle, you're an ectomorph. Now, let us move on to the mesomorph. All right, so a classic example of the mesomorph is Tom Platz. Another example would probably be Arnold Schwarzenegger. And here are some characteristics that describe the mesomorph, straight from Arnold's book. Large chest, long torso, solid muscle structure, and great strength. So these guys have no trouble gaining muscle. They can gain off any routine, whether it's chest, shoulders, and triceps, or push pull, or 3 days a week, or 5 to 6 days. What is it? Training one body part a day. These guys can gain with anything, no problem. I honestly think these are the guys that get questioned the most, whether they're natty or not. Not like that matters, anyways. But these guys don't really have a hard time with gaining muscle or losing weight, and they've never had a problem with that. But the thing is, they've never been fat and they've never been skinny. It's just like they're kind of like, oh, this guy's just like an average dude. Compared to like the ectomorph, like you compare a mesomorph and an ectomorph, and you have them both wear clothes, you're gonna point at the ectomorph and say that guy's skinny, and you're gonna point at the mesomorph and be like, oh, this guy's just like a normal looking dude. Like Frank Zane, like he was one of the guys that didn't look like he lifted when he would wear his normal clothes. I think it was Arnold that pointed that out, like that Frank Zane was the only guy that looked like a normal dude in his clothes. He was a chemistry teacher and he could just walk around the streets and nobody know he lifted, which was kind of like a good thing for him because he didn't want people to stare at him. He thought it was kind of weird, and it's like, I mean, some people like being stared at. I mean, I'm pretty sure Arnold didn't care or Frank Colombo didn't care. They probably embraced that shit, but Frank Zane, it's like he didn't like it too much, so he just was cool with it. All right, so enough of that. Let us move on to the last body type, and then I'm going to give you some training principles to follow for each type. All right, so last body type would be the endomorph. I picked Chris Dickerson because I thought he was a pretty good example. I mean, look at the picture on the left. He looks a little round, a little fluffy. Let me read you a short description of the body type from Arnold Schwarzenegger's book. The endomorph: soft musculature, round face, short neck, wide hips, and heavy fat storage. So, as you were listening to my voice, you were probably looking at Chris Dickerson on the left, the picture on the left, and you were like, well, damn, that is a pretty good description. You know, short neck and wide hips. And it made a lot of sense. I mean, I picked Chris Dickerson because out of like my own like knowledge, I was like, oh, this guy looks like a straight up endomorph. You can just tell. And then like as soon as I picked up that fluffy picture and read out the description, I was like, oh shit, that does make sense. So I picked a good one. All right, so the biggest issue with the endomorph is probably trying to keep the weight off, but they most certainly do not have a problem gaining muscle or gaining fat. So if you've never been skinny and you've always been a little more fluffy than the average dude, and you've never had a problem gaining weight and muscle, but you've had a hard time losing weight, then you're probably a endomorph. Now, let us begin on the training part for each body type. Number one is the ectomorph. We're going to talk about that one first. Training for the ectomorph. Focus more on power movements like the power clean, the cleaning press, the deadlift, the pull-ups, the bend over row, the squats, and shit like that. My theory is that you want to attack more muscles with less movements. Like the squat. The squat, I mean, works the whole freaking body. The bench press works the chest, the shoulders, the triceps. Compound movements, power movements, same thing. And some reps you want to follow. This is coming straight from Arnold, Larry Scott, Vince Gironda, and myself. You want to keep the rep ranges low, around 6 to 8 repetitions. The reason I say this is because low reps hit more muscle fibers and deep muscle fibers. Don't burn too many calories. That is exactly why I go to the gym 3 days a week, because my metabolism is firing up like crazy. The less I go, the less calories I burn. The less calories I burn, the more surplus I'm at, the more weight I will gain. Theoretically, that is true. And it's what I've been doing for the past year. You need to train intensely. That meaning, like, train as fast as you can and get out of the gym as fast as you can. Because if you're an ectomorph and you're at the gym for like 2 or 3 fucking hours, you're going to burn a shit ton of calories with lifting weights. You're already burning enough calories as it is. Why are you putting in more work? You're going to be burning more calories. It's like you're going in reverse. That's exactly why I do the 3-day split. I don't know. I don't want to get into a whole argument with myself about this. But anyways, let us move on to the training for the mesomorph. Training for the mesomorph. Pretty basic stuff. These guys can gain off any routine, whether it's push-pull, triceps, biceps, or whatever. I mean, one muscle a week. I mean, 3-day split, whatever. These guys can gain with anything. Another thing, in Arnold's book, it says that you could even start off with isolation exercise and still gain really good. Let me give you an example. You put a mesomorph and an ectomorph in the same gym. You give them both dumbbells, and you say, here, both of you guys, I want you to do the concentration curl. And do that for 2 weeks and come back and let me see how your results are. The ectomorph will have a hard time building biceps with that exercise because it's not compound. The mesomorph will definitely gain off it because it's like, it says here in Arnold's book. Let me read you an excerpt from it. You build muscle so easily, so you can begin working on shape and separation right from the beginning. I mean, concentration curl, that is good for the shape. You give that to an ectomorph, it won't work out. With the mesomorph, you don't necessarily have to be in a huge surplus diet like the ectomorph. Those guys need a lot to gain weight. The mesomorph doesn't need so much. According to Mike Menster, he says the balanced diet is 60% carbohydrates, 25% protein, and 15% fat. That is the balanced diet. So that is the training for mesomorph. Pretty basic stuff. I mean, these guys don't really have a hard time gaining muscle. I mean, they can switch from routine to routine. It's like if they want to lose weight or if they want to gain weight, they have to lessen the calories or up the calories. And they have less of an obstacle compared to the ectomorph and compared to the endomorph. So now let us move on to the last body type. So the endomorph will not have a hard time gaining muscle, but they will have a hard time losing weight. So right here, Arnold recommends very short rest periods so you can burn off as much fat as possible. That is why is it important to train intensely, whether it's supersets, whether it's like extra cardio, high intensity, or whatever. So, another thing, you're gonna want to stay in a lower calorie diet because if you are in a huge surplus, you will gain weight very quickly. I'm pretty sure you have no trouble doing that. So, you're gonna want to stay more on the lean side. So, in addition to having a low calorie diet, you might have to do a little bit extra cardio so you can make sure you keep that weight off. Look, I know this seems hard. It's like you have a hard time losing weight, I have a hard time gaining weight. We both have our struggles and our curses. I mean, I blame the mesomorph. Those guys kind of, I don't want to say they have it easy, but they have it easy. I mean, these guys have no trouble gaining weight. They have no trouble losing weight. I mean, yeah, it's all hard work, but they don't have a hard time because they don't really get fat like you do, and they don't really get skinny like I do. Another thing Arnold recommends is higher repetitions. He says keep it more in the 10 to 12 rep range and nothing lower with short rest periods, like I said earlier. All right, so let us recap all of this. We talked about some good examples of what an ectomorph looks like, Frank Zane. We talked about some good examples for the mesomorph, Tom Platz. Another good example of the endomorph is Chris Dickerson. Then we also talked about some training tips for the ectomorph that you should keep your rep range low. You know, you want to be in a surplus of calories. You don't want to burn too many calories because you're already your metabolism is firing up like crazy. And we talked about the mesomorph that they have no trouble gaining muscle. They can use whatever exercise, whether it's power, whether it's a concentration exercise or whatever. And then we also talked about the endomorph that they have a hard time losing weight, so they have to be in a lower calorie diet so they can keep the weight off, and they have to do a little bit extra cardio so they can keep that weight off because they gain weight so easily. So, if you found this video helpful and you were able to figure out what your body type was pretty quickly, please like and subscribe. Please share this video with someone who doesn't know their body type and they need to see this so they can figure out how to train, you know, what to look out for and what to look out for when they say, oh, that guy's not natty. He's not natty. Well, he might be a mesomorph. So, I'm coming out with my new series pretty soon. Someone gave me an idea. I don't remember who it was, but I'm giving you credit for this. He said that I should make a series based on, you know, different types of bodybuilders and how to achieve their physique. Like, what were their favorite exercises? Like, say you want to build a physique like Steve Reeves. He really focused on the hack squat. You know, he liked the incline dumbbell press and the incline curls. And it was Arnold. He was or Larry Scott was a big fan of the preacher curl, and he did some certain exercises for his legs and shit like that. That might be the new series that is coming out. I'm working on it. I want to make sure I have at least maybe 5 or 10 builders that we can model, and I can figure out like what were their favorite exercises and how to like achieve a physique like theirs. So anyways, I don't want to give out too much information. I want to make it more like a spoiler and teaser. Anyways, thanks for watching. This is Old School Dan checking out. Peace.